Hey, welcome. Today we're going to talk about something that hits home for a lot of people. It's for anyone who's ever felt like they're just a little out of step with the rest of the world. We're diving into adult autism, especially for those who've gone their whole lives feeling like they missed the memo on how to be.
Our source material uses this phrase, and wow, it just hits the nail on the head, doesn't it? This isn't about being shy. It's a deep, constant feeling of being on the outside of the glass, looking in.
Does that question resonate with you? If it does, you're in exactly the right place. This feeling of being an observer, not a participant, is a really common thread we're going to pull on today. And we'll start with why that feeling of being different just sticks around.
Yeah, this isn't some phase you grow out of. For so many undiagnosed autistic adults, that feeling of being different is basically a companion for life. It shapes everything: how you interact with people, the choices you make, and how you see yourself.
But here's what's so fascinating. That perspective, it can totally change. As people get older and start to understand themselves better, what once felt like a weakness or a flaw, it starts to look like something else. This different way of seeing the world can actually become a huge source of strength.
So, what's really going on underneath that feeling? Let's try to decode some of the common and often really subtle signs that could explain this lifelong sense of being different.
Okay, first up, the whole world of social cues. It's like everyone else got a secret rule book. For a lot of autistic people, trying to figure out tone of voice, what facial expressions mean, or how much eye contact is normal, it's exhausting. This can make you come across as blunt or not interested, even when you really are, which then just ramps up social anxiety. It's no wonder relationships can feel so complicated.
Next is the sensory side of things, and this is a really big one. This isn't just about not liking certain things, it's a completely different neurological experience. The buzz of fluorescent lights, the scratchy tag on a shirt, the background chatter in a restaurant. For some, it can be physically painful and lead to total sensory overload. And that's exactly why you might find yourself avoiding places that seem totally fine to other people.
And check this out, because it's not a one-size-fits-all thing. It's a whole spectrum. On one end, you've got hypersensitivity, where a clock ticking can sound like a drum. But on the other end, there's hyposensitivity, where you might be undersensitive and not really notice things like temperature changes or even minor pain. It's even possible to be both, just for different senses.
In a world that can feel totally random and overwhelming, routines are like an anchor. They provide a sense of safety and control that is absolutely vital. So, when something unexpected happens and throws that routine off, it can cause a ton of anxiety. You might also notice repetitive actions, what's often called stimming, like tapping your fingers or rocking. That's not just a quirk, it's a really effective way to self-soothe and manage all that stress.
Now you might be thinking, if these traits are pretty clear, why do so many adults, especially women, go their whole lives without a diagnosis? Well, that leads us to a hugely important concept called masking.
Masking is basically social camouflage. It's the constant, exhausting effort of pretending to be neurotypical. It's forcing yourself to make eye contact when it feels awful, practicing conversations in your head before you have them, or holding back the urge to stim, all just to fit in. It's a survival strategy, plain and simple. Just look at this number, 80%. Let that sink in for a second. It's a staggering number that represents a massive hidden population. And it really brings us to the question of who is being missed and why.
So that 80%, that's the estimated number of autistic women who are still undiagnosed when they become adults. A huge reason for this is that girls are often socialized to be better at masking. Plus, for decades, the criteria for diagnosing autism were based almost entirely on observing young boys, so the way it showed up in girls was just missed, completely overlooked.
And performing your whole life, it takes a massive toll. Nonstop masking leads to deep, chronic burnout. It's linked to higher rates of anxiety and depression, and it creates this painful gap between who you are and who you pretend to be. It's like feeling like an imposter in your own skin, day in and day out.
Okay, so if any of this is hitting a little too close to home, what's next? Well, the path to figuring this out doesn't have to be scary. Let's walk through what that journey can look like. First things first, our sources say to just listen to other autistic people. Go online, find autistic communities, and just hear their stories. It can be incredibly eye-opening. Next, there are online screening tools that can be a decent starting point, but just remember, they're not a diagnosis. For that, the final step is to seek out a professional who specializes in this stuff. They can give you real clarity and validation.
Finding out you're autistic as an adult isn't the end of a road. For so many people, it's the absolute beginning.
It's a chance to finally rewrite your own story with an instruction manual that actually makes sense for you.
And the emotions that come with this discovery, they're complicated. On one hand, there's this huge wave of relief. This feeling of, okay, I'm not broken. There's a reason for all this. But at the same time, there can be real grief for the past, for all the years you struggled without knowing why. And both of those feelings are 100% valid. I just love this quote because it really gets to the heart of it. A diagnosis isn't just about closing the book on the past, it's about opening a new one. It gives you the power to grow and, maybe for the first time, to give yourself a little grace and compassion.
And that really brings us to the final thought here. For your whole life, that feeling of being different might have felt like something was wrong with you. But what if it wasn't? What if it was actually a map, pointing you toward a deeper understanding of who you truly are? What if understanding your differentness is the real start of the journey?